Welcome to What's Up with Bowling Green Winlectric. We're your go-to podcast for lighting tips, interior design insights, and expert advice on all things home, electrical, and design. Join us as we chat with local guests, electricians, and designers as we dive into the world of DIY tips, building ideas, and indoor-outdoor home solutions to help you create the perfect ambiance indoors and out.
Hey guys, it's Sean with What's Up with Winlectric, and as always, I'm from Bowling Green Winlectric. These guys are not. They're from TVA. This is Ty and Robert with TVA's EnergyRight programs to talk about some TVA incentives with us today. Now, first off, we're not going to go into who you are, because if they want to know who you are, they can go back to that other episode.
Yeah, watch the other episode.
Yeah, watch that other episode. Yeah. So what I'd like to get into a little bit more on this episode is things other than the fast track incentives, which is mainly what we focused on last time. So I do know there is the quote standard incentive. We briefly touched on that before, but I would like to go a little bit more in depth in case we have somebody that would like to do that, retrofit a large part or all part of their commercial, because it's, well, boy, I am rambling right now. Woo! I did a lot anyway, but that time I was fired up going. I didn't take a breath. So when we had done those before, they were more commercial industrial related, and we were doing like entire facility changes out. Is that what you guys are seeing with the quote standard program?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll let Ty kind of get into the lighting portion. But what I'll just say first is, as our whole incentive portfolio, I know we talked about fast track. That is a representation of what we consider kind of our traditional rebate style incentives, and we just switch out rebate for fast track. And what that means for your customers, that you can apply for these projects after they're installed, or without pre-approval. And beyond fast track lighting, we have new construction lighting, we have HVAC, and we have some compressed air measures as well. The rest of our program is traditionally what you would just call it is kind of standard or pre-approval, meaning that you have to apply for those incentives before you do any work. But I'll let Ty talk about the lighting portion, because that's obviously the majority of your customers and what you all do. But that will kind of help distinguish the two different buckets that we have.
Yeah, okay, sounds great.
Like as Robert explained, the standard portion for the lighting is ones that those lights don't qualify for those 5 that are in that fast track. So that's where you get the high bays, those other items that you're seeing that are going to manufacturing, different places like that. So what we're going to do on that is we ask the contractor, the business, to create a list of the fixtures that you're going to replace. On that type, the wattage, the quantity of the working. In this factor, it doesn't matter if they are working or not, because that will be calculated on the incentive.
Gotcha.
And then the total overall, the spec sheet for that. A lot of times their older nameplate on their works, that's just where we can verify the wattage on that. Then what we're doing is creating a list of what's going to go in and replace those. So that those new light fixtures, you got your high bays and things like that. On those, we need the quantity, the spec sheet, and the current wattage of that new fixture. Gotcha. So what we'll do is put this in a fun little PPET calculator that's going to determine on the type of building that you're looking at, which then is calculated to deemed run hours established by TVA. It's going to look at those old light fixtures, the wattage that they're running on those hours, those new fixtures on the new wattage, create a nice little calculations of the energy saved, and then that's going to be timed by a certain percentage, dollar cents, and it's going to be that's your overall total calculation for your incentive. Now, where you talk about this gets tricky, all of that has to be figured out, calculated, put into an OLA online application and a PPEC before the work can be started, and even purchased from a
Right.
So that's where the tricky part and separates the standard to that fast track.
Yeah, and that's kind of mentioned in the previous episode. That's kind of what caused us some issues when we were trying to do those in the past. Is that that's kind of a long process. And we ended up being real heavily involved as well, which we didn't mind. But we would have to go, we'd check, and then you have more go out in the meantime too, and then then this has changed, and so many hands and. The hand,
Yeah, absolutely. On average, it's about a 6-week process from when you submit to when you get that pre-approval. what we're trying to cover is typically about 30 to 40% of material cost on your entire scope. Obviously, your customers that have the longer run hours, those heavy industrial 8760, those savings get magnified quite a bit, and we're looking at 13 cents for outdoor and 15 cents for interior lighting. So it's a kind of a two-tiered system depending on the kWh that you're saving. One of the advantages of going through standard that we can't capture on Fast Track, like Ty said, we do have a limited number of fixtures that we can do for Fast Track, so all your lights can be incorporated under standard, but we can also now calculate sensor savings. And that's a huge portion of LEDs these days, where it's like, yes, there is a wattage difference, and that's great, but now you can control those lights almost to an nth degree with advanced controls.
Sure.
And so we give an additional savings that is compounded on top of just your overall watt savings. So if you're looking at occupancy sensors, maybe daylight controls, dimming, we even give an additional bonus now we consider network controls. So a kind of a smart integrated mesh network system where those lights are talking to an advanced controller, and that controller can say, in this portion dim, this portion turn off because of occupant, and you can do all that. That's an additional 10% of savings on top of what we would probably have like a 30 to 35% additional savings. So you're looking at almost a 40 to 45% additional savings on top of just whatever your LEDs you have. So yes, the pre-approval does take a while, and it's not for everybody, but if you're looking at a large enough space and they have the capital and they can wait, there is a huge advantage money-wise of saying, all right, we'll wait a month and a half to get that incentive dollars because it's worth it to us. Again, not for everybody, but if time isn't necessarily a huge factor, we always encourage it.
Yeah, well, and I'd say one of the reasons that is such a big benefit is because now you're pretty much able to get money back on pretty much everything you have. I can't say everything because sometimes you can't find a fixture that may qualify, based on what you had before versus what you're going to now or something like that. I mean, I'm just guessing that. I can't say for 100% sure, but
it's almost everything. So one thing that we've done over the past few years is we did get rid of our DLC qualification.
That was a big
So
thing.
what that allows you all to do and your customers to do is that you can pick any kind of fixture you want. In the past, they had to be DLC certified, and what DLC is, for those that don't know, is called Design Light Consortium, and it is a third-party governing body that will say these lights are rated at this wattage, the efficacy of these lights is great. I would say almost at least 80% of LEDs these days are DLC certified. It's a large majority. So as a program, we felt that the market had self-regulated enough that we felt comfortable saying, like, we don't have to now be that police.
Yeah,
The market can do that.
DLC. The way I've described it to people in the past, it's almost like the lighting version of Energy Star in a sense. Because there was Energy Star for lighting, but then Energy Star just stopped. It just didn't go any further, and DLC kept progressing.
Energy Star is good for lamps. It's not good for high bays. It's not good for street lights. That's where DLC comes in. But like I said, most manufacturers will go through DLC. But as a program, we don't feel like we have to be that governing body.
And that's nice.
It is nice.
So we talked quite a bit then about what the air quote standard rebate looks like. So what other avenues would people have to gain rebates from TVA other than lighting?
So one of the big ones we're seeing is on that fast track too is the HVAC. So we're seeing a lot of people take advantage of that because that's a situation too. You can apply for up to 6 months prior to the install of that HVAC.
Gotcha.
That HVAC is similar to how we have that fast track of the lights. We have this very large efficiency level. Those units that you're installed, it's based on type of unit and then the efficiency levels. So that efficiency level, that unit has to meet the minimal requirements or exceed, and then it would qualify in that program. Then they would receive a dollar amount per tonnage based on the type of unit that's being installed.
What I remember way back when I built my house 20 years ago, it was like SEER 13 was and so what is the
industry standard these days for commercial buildings, and we'll talk about a 5-ton unit because that's apples to apples. For a 5-ton unit for a commercial space, 14 SEER is the kind of rock bottom of what the governing body has said. This is an efficient unit. We pay $8 a ton on those units. As a program, we would love to have people go beyond that. So we have a measure called advanced tier. Now you're talking about an 18 SEER rated unit for a 5-ton equivalent, and we'll pay $175 for those units. So we almost double the incentive. However, there is a significant up cost going to that.
Sure.
It's one of those things where, if you're going to put the capital up front, you might as well strive to go as efficient as possible. From a program perspective, there's no advantage going to like a 16 or 17 SEER rated unit because we can't pay any additional on that.
Sure.
So there is a kind of a threshold where it's like, all right, if I want just the incentive, I'll put 14 in. Otherwise, I'm going to really jump up to that higher level and do that advance. And that can be for your normal rooftop unit or even heat pumps.
Oh, okay.
And then we have other incentives for variable refrigerant flow or VRF. If you have a Daikin unit, it's called VRV. They get very picky about that.
Okay.
Air-cooled chillers, and I'm missing something else.
Geothermal.
And geothermal. So lots of different avenues, and like Ty said, it is again within our kind of fast track or non-pre-approval route. It's again a great incentive to get into if you're new to the program.
So just to clarify, what we're speaking about now is for commercials.
Commercial and industrial.
Industrial. Yeah, not residential. TVA does have some residential things available, but that's not what you guys are a part of. So we're talking about what you guys are a part of.
Yes, sir.
So,
yes, sir. But if people want to learn about that, EnergyRight.com is a great place.
EnergyRight.com.
Yep, it's a great place to go.
EnergyRight.com.
We'll say it probably 4 more times.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's a great resource. We actually just moved, and I've been looking at it. We need some insulation. I've gone to the TVA website, found a contractor that does that, and we'll be able to do. And they asked, "How do you learn about this?" Well, I'm on the industry side, working with the residency. So.
Yeah. So insulation. I did not know that was something.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I mentioned earlier when we were talking off camera about windows, and so windows. I know they get some sort of money sometimes from rebates on windows upgrades and things. It's just crazy. Things that you do already,
absolutely,
you can get. So anyway,
so there's a lot of things like that with our program, and Ty said like a great one people take advantage of is HVAC. It's I think the most energy consuming part of your bill outside of lighting. Cooling a space just takes a tremendous amount of energy. Beyond that, we have probably 2 measures that are really popular right now. One of them is going to be a bit more complex to talk about. The other one is we call new construction lighting, and it's exactly what it means. It's a new building being built, or a kind of refurbishment of an existing facility beyond just like, hey, we're changing out lights. It's like a total gut. Kind of the building that we're in right now is a perfect example of what we would consider new construction. And a lot of people say, why would TVA pay for a new building? So, our whole system right now is we are on a trajectory of increased load, and we are going to be, unless something crazy happens again, for the foreseeable future. And so what we are trying to encourage customers to do is say, hey, we know you're going to build something, but we want you to really build it as efficiently as possible. So we will pay you to help do that, understanding there is a cost increase of going above code. Some places don't even have a code. So we're really trying to encourage those customers to do that.
Absolutely.
So we will pay people now to say, hey, instead of just putting fluorescents in, why don't you put LEDs in? Why don't you even go beyond that? It is a slightly more ambiguous to calculate. It's called lighting power density. So it's how dense is the lighting area within that space, and we want to make sure it is as light as possible. So with that, we pay 10 cents based on lighting power density of how far above code are you for your new building.
Gotcha.
And it's great for warehouses, it's great for office spaces. So if you have a customer that's building a new building, they can get an incentive on that now. And it's a great one to do, and we've seen a lot of success with that lately.
Even I live in Bowling Green, I feel like there's buildings going up everywhere.
Yeah.
Even the drive here to Glasgow, there's just so many opportunities out there that a lot of people don't know about. It's
Right.
like, I'm not going to get money for something I'm already going to build.
Mhm.
But, and Robert said it's to code, but we go to a 2009 standard. A lot of places that do have this code standard, they're already above that. So when you're building your building to those specs, you're already well above that. So that's even more money that's being saved.
Right.
Because again, we're comparing that standard to what's actually put in, and then giving that 10 cents per kilowatt hour saved. So it's a great, schools, there's a lot of schools going up. There's great projects for them, and instead of money that's getting back to them, because of just how the efficiency levels we're putting in there. And then HVAC falls within that too. It has to be the advanced tier, but there's qualify
for new build you can do. Oh,
Yes,
wow.
sir. Yeah.
Okay.
So we have at least 2 incentives for, actually 3. But yeah, HVAC, new construction lighting. We even still have forklifts. So
I had that in the bank, man. I was going to pull that out and be like, I've seen stuff about electric forklifts.
yeah, electric forklifts are still super popular. Like I said with kind of in our other episode, been here long enough where I've seen the incentive program shift from energy efficiency. 2020, it went to what we call beneficial electrification, which means we were incentivizing fuel switching. Now it's kind of gone back to energy efficiency. But forklifts has kind of been that legacy measure that has been great for customers to still get into. It still helps reduce that CO2, still helps meet their carbon neutral, net zero goals. And it's $1,000 for purchase, $1,000 for lease, $2,000 for purchase. But it's a great incentive. A lot of industrial customers still need forklifts.
Right.
It's something vendors can still help out with and just be a value add, especially for folks like yourself. Like, hey, we can still help you apply for these forklifts, and also if you buy lights from us, we'll get you an incentive for that too.
Yeah.
So that's a great one for new construction as well.
Yeah.
And the great thing about the forklift, it doesn't have to be brand new. It can also be a used forklift. It would just need a new battery to qualify for the
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting too.
Yep.
Yeah. I didn't know that, so
And
that's good.
Like I said, I think what our customers experience is just the very high level aspects of our program, because it can get very deep pretty quickly. But I think once you have a customer that, or even if yourself interested in participating, once you do it once, especially if you do the fast track element, you realize, man, that wasn't too bad.
Yeah, it's so much easier.
It's so much easier, and then that kind of eases the fear of, hey, I want to do a more complex project. Yes, it's going to take more time,
Yes.
but I've experienced I am going to get that check in the mail.
Yeah.
And I think people don't believe they're going to get that
So
check.
it's so interesting that the way you just said that, because of the electrical contractors that we have had that have done installs on TVA fast track, every single one of them has done at least one more.
Mhm.
So we've had, once they've done it, they're like, that's it? That's all? Because really the electrician doesn't have, but the electrician is usually our initial customer.
Mhm.
And then the end user, comes into play, the business
Yeah.
owner. And so the electrician's like, I don't want to have to jump through 100 different hoops. Electrician really doesn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
They just got to say, hey, I'm doing this job. And then we go, hey, we can get you money back from that.
And I'll even say this on the money side. So depending when this airs, but right now we do have a program or a kind of a limited time offer we're calling PPN Reward. We did this last year. We're doing it again this year, and what we were doing is offering $0.015 per kWh saved on projects that our PPNs are submitting. So not only are your customers getting an incentive, we're trying to incentivize now you, the vendor, PPNs, to submit projects. We understand that your time is as valuable as everyone else. We understand, like we mentioned, it takes time filling out the application or the calculator. It takes time going through the approval process. So we want to make sure that we are acknowledging that and rewarding that. So until the end of August, we will offer the top 3 projects that are submitted from our PPNs. They'll get $0.015 per kWh saved on those projects. So, you know, it's not something we can do all the time,
right,
but we are trying to help encourage people to participate and to do those more complex projects, because we understand it takes time to go through the program.
Well, if you had one, ending this up right here, if we had one piece of information that you would like to push out to say, hey, something maybe we didn't talk about or something that we already did talk about, just to reiterate, what would you tell end users, business owners, you know, maybe supervisors, managers, supervisors on, you know, big factory sites that they could see a benefit, whatever? What would be one major piece of information you can tell them?
I mean, personally, I would think if you think you have a project that you're looking at potentially doing that brings in efficiency levels, ask, reach out, because there's incentives out there. If it doesn't fall in the standard we didn't talk about, well, we have this custom field that's pretty much a catch-all for everything else. It's a little more invasive, a little more detailed, but you know, it's an opportunity.
Right.
All we can say is no, but you know, you're missing out on potential money, you know, that we can help with the capital, then that can be rolled into another capital investment, and it's just that thing. It's like, don't ask.
Good point.
Do not ask.
Yeah. I that's one of the things people say, well, I was just wondering about. Dude, all I can do is say no. Like, you know, ask. And the thing is, it doesn't cost anything for them to call us and say, hey, can we look at this? Yes, we go to job sites. We don't charge anything for that. We will come to your job site and say, yes, we can do this, or no, that's not applicable, or hey, let me call Ty or Robert to find out for sure. But either way, it doesn't cost them anything, just inquire about it. And you might be leaving literally thousands of dollars on the table. Easy. So.
I will say there are so many things within your business that will never give you an incentive or a ROI back.
Right.
Our program is one of the few things that you will do that we will pay you to do, and we want to encourage you to do that. Don't fear the process. I think a lot of people think it's hard, and there is time. It is not as hard as people think it is. And especially once you get that check in the mail,
right.
I guarantee you we gave a customer not too far away from here about $1 million that they did not know about.
Wow.
And that individual I worked with got a promotion.
Wow.
Because he saved their business so much money. Don't be afraid to explore.
Reach
out to Winlectric, reach out to your vendors. There's money to be had.
Right. Well, I think that's saving somebody $1 million, that's a great place to end this one. So, guys, I'd like to thank Ty and Robert with TVA's EnergyRight program for coming in and talking to us a little bit more. Guys, thank you for doing that. And as always, if you have any questions, electrical questions or whatever the case may be, you can give us a call, Bowling Green Winlectric, 270-842-6153. Thanks again for joining us with What's Up with Winlectric.